What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Read Reviews podcast. As you can see, we don't have Dilly today. He's upstairs taking a nap, so I'm on the ones and twos for the day. Cody, how you doing? What's going on?
Chilling, tired.
Yeah, why? Still just everybody's fucking tired today. Dylan's up there sleeping an hour before he's off work.
Maybe it's the rain or something, but also I told you just going to work and then eating a meal and then coming straight here. This is normally when I crash out for an hour or so.
Every day Blair comes home from work, whatever it is, 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and then goes and takes like a 1 or 2 hour power nap.
Yeah, it kind of. I was never a napper until a certain age when I don't get in my bed and take a nap. I just fall asleep where I'm at, which is normally the chair at my desk.
I know, you're wild.
Yeah, so it just happens unplanned. Whenever it's going to happen, it happens. I'll be mid anything and I'll just fall asleep.
So I don't think we talked about it on camera, but I was telling Dylan or Blair, one of them, about this one day when did the light just flicker again? Something happened. But for the first few months that we lived together, I would be up way too late at 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning taking a piss or something. I would see that your light's still on in your bedroom. I'm like, damn, Cody's still up right now. I remember one time it was 4:30 and I was like, what the fuck is he doing in there? And then I ended up finding out that you just fall asleep at the desk with your lights on.
90% of the time I could be asleep still.
Yeah.
Just fully lights on. Those are the worst feelings is 5 a.m. I wake up in the chair, everything on, and I'm like, dude. This is the most disgusting, dirty feeling.
Yeah, I was mind blown when I found that out, but I was like, okay, I guess that makes more sense rather than you sleeping 2 hours a night.
Yeah, no, I get my sleep in.
I'm jealous. I don't get that. I was just bitching about Olive and my roommate Blair's cat, and yesterday she does it every morning, but yesterday she was meowing for 3 hours straight from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Actually, it was 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. because it was my day off. And I'm such a light sleeper, and it fucking sucks. I hate it, but I didn't sleep that whole time. I went to bed at probably 12:30 or 1 a.m. and then was up at 5 a.m. And then cat's just meowing. It's the loudest, piercing, most devastating.
Yeah, but you get an early start to your day.
Oh, but then I can't function all day because I haven't slept. Oh my god, I hate it.
That's why you just got to now work in those naps somehow.
Yeah.
Find a way to crunch out an hour, and you just teach yourself. You put your head on the pillow or just do something.
I try to avoid the naps, man. All they do is fuck me up. I used to be a huge nap guy when I was in high school and college. I would just nap all the time. Like you do right now. You and Blair do right now. You come home from school, take a nap from 3 to 5 or whatever.
Yeah.
And I always hated that. 'Cause sometimes I would just nap for 4 or 5 hours, and then it's 9 o'clock, and I'm like,
yeah,
okay, now what are we doing? I just got to go to bed again.
Occasionally, I have an alarm that I'll set where I know, but I can usually be good about intermittently waking up and stuff. But I might need. Well, I don't know. We'll see. Since I have to as of now, and just me not being lazy and starting, I'm gonna have to start running a lot. Consistently for this marathon.
Oh yeah, you want to tell people about what's going on with that? You got.
It's not much.
Why are you doing it? Who's why did you how did this even come about?
So during on Christmas break, whatever, when I had my family up here from California, my brother-in-law and my brother, they run they've been running marathons and long distance stuff for the last few years as just kind of staying in shape, I think, and something to do. And when they were down here, up here, they convinced me. It didn't take a lot because I'm not opposed to doing this. It's a good challenge, but running a marathon in Vegas in October of this year, which is already the way they got me was my brother-in-law Alex was like, I'll buy your bib and all your registration stuff. And then my brother was like, and I'll buy you a new pair of running shoes that you can use to train and just run in.
They flying you down there?
I doubt it. That's probably the easier part for me is all I have to do is they're in California, Southern California. So I'll probably just fly down there and we'll drive up.
Oh, yeah, because Vegas, 4 hours?
Yeah, it's probably a 4-hour drive, I think. So we'll probably just drive down and I can do that. I can go with them. But yeah, somehow got wrangled into now running a marathon. I haven't ran since actively running to see my times, my mile pace, and I haven't done that since high school when I was doing track as a kid.
What's the furthest you've ever even ran?
Oh, I don't know. Not very far at all.
I think the most that I've ever ran is maybe 5 miles. And a marathon is 26?
26.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a lot
So
more.
that's
just
why,
a little bit more.
That's why I'm like, all right, it's March. I just finally got the shoes got to me this week.
Weather's nicer.
And weather's finally it was way too cold to kind of start running at that point. So it's now I'm like, I gotta the first day is gonna suck. The second day is gonna be worse. The third day is gonna be the all-time worst. And then after that first couple of days, I'm hoping I'll find a rhythm and get into it. But I don't know. It's going to beat me up for sure. I'm expecting it's going to be a brutal next couple months. I'm going to have to be eating so much more. I'm going to have to be...
You're skinny, which is nice because it's I think something for people that jump into running who have never really been runners or haven't done it in 10 plus years. Really, really bad on your legs and shin splints and your knees. You're skinny, so that's a little bit better, but yeah, you might have to really take it slow, not just start running every day because it's going to just destroy.
I'm not doing every day. I already asked my brother-in-law. I asked both of them.
A couple times a week, maybe.
I was like, hey, okay, I don't know anything about how to do this properly, and also someone who hasn't ran in Lord knows how many years.
I'm just going to turn it on. You go ahead.
And I'm going to have to figure out a way to start this training without killing myself and then ruining it, go hard the first month and then never pick it up again because I destroyed myself.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. I need
easing it in.
Yeah, so my brother-in-law was like, we're going to start pretty easy. It's just maybe 3 runs a week-ish, every other day, or you could take 2 days in between, and starting with a mile or 2. And you just do that. And I am skinny, but all my weight is in my legs. So that's the only thing
Wouldn't that be a good thing though? Because your legs be more muscular, so they might take it a little better.
It'll be good for hopefully building muscle. I'm not smart enough to know if this will actually do that.
We're just shooting from the hip.
Yeah, but I will definitely lose weight, I think, in my legs for sure. And then it'll over time. I'm just gonna this will be some form of work, putting on any sort of strenuous activity on my legs right now is going to help a little bit.
The hard part too will be you'll have to eat more, obviously, but you want to make sure it's not more shit because it's easy to put in more calories. You can get way high. You can start drinking milkshakes every day, but then you're just going to start feeling like fucking shit.
Well, I'm not trying to puke while I'm running. So it's I have to be smart about what I eat and all this stuff, which I'm not looking forward to. But that's the
it's
point.
Good. It's the point.
It's
good stuff.
I'm hoping by the time October rolls around, I am ready in a headspace of I can do this. It's not gonna be easy, but I can do it. And then after it's done, I can be well, maybe I do another, or I just keep up with the routine. Really, just making a routine. Hopefully.
I couldn't fathom running a fucking marathon. Man.
I can't either.
I
just did it. I just said yes because I said fuck it. If you don't just say yes, I'll never do it.
So you're gonna do Bloomsday? That'd be a good warm up.
No,
Bloomsday is what 7 miles.
I doubt I'll do that. I'm not. I'll just say right now sites are only set on October. It's late October, and I haven't started, so I'm still in the this will be fun. But I'm smart enough to know that it won't be all fun, and it's a challenge for a reason.
It's probably gonna be mostly not fun, but you should theoretically feel really good after doing it. Not even after you do it, but leading up to it, you feel really good.
Not even hoping. I know doing this should bleed into other aspects of my life.
How you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah, so I have not been the most organized lately, and there's just a lot of shit I know I need to get figured out. Not figured out, but kind of take charge of. This is one thing that's a weird challenge that I think will spread to other aspects that can help me stay a little more organized. I'm more routine based too, so just being in a routine is going to be, I think, huge for me. Yeah. So
that's something that I'm trying to get into too, because I've been trying to get into a little bit of shape for going to Mayo's wedding in May, in the middle of May. And I've been drinking way less. I say this while I'm drinking a beer here right now, but I've been drinking way less. I've been eating healthier. Still eat fast food too many times, probably a few times a week. But most of the time, the vast majority of my meals are a little bit healthier now. I've lost about 8 or 9 pounds. I think I probably want to lose maybe another 10 to 15. It's not all about the weight, but the harder part that I still haven't gotten into because with how much I fucking work, and it's just an excuse because all I would have to do is go to bed earlier and wake up earlier. But I haven't been working out enough. I've been eating better and I've been drinking less and all that stuff, and I've lost some weight. But I want to actually get in the gym and build muscle because that's what I really care about. I just want to be more athletically apt and able to do shit.
That's what I want to do along same. I have a lot of free time right now, which is another reason hey, just fill my schedule with stuff and it'll help. With taking up time, and I'm hoping I can work out some form or way outside of running. Running will start me into working out mindset. and getting active more, and then I can
try to just start doing some pickleball a little more.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Except my schedule is fucked. Like, if you'd have to do it on Tuesdays or Wednesdays, or maybe like Sunday mornings, like early,
well, that's,
like 8 a.m.
So maybe. I think biting the bullet on this in life right now is I've always said, and I am like, I'm not a morning person. I'm not.
Me neither.
But I've never ever really even tried to be a morning person because I've always said, screw that, I don't want to be. And I think I'm at the point, like you were just saying, like all it takes is going to bed earlier and waking up earlier.
Not that much. I'm not that much earlier.
I'm thinking, because of how much I don't want to do it, I'm like, what if I run first thing in the morning?
Then you're done.
And then you get it out of the way, and you're so like ready for whatever else I would think. It gets you out of that like morning funk.
I will say, so I've gone to the gym most of my adult life. I started in like middle, probably maybe late high school, probably my junior year. And I've gone pretty consistently since then. I still go, I just don't go enough. But I've always noticed that when I'm on my most consistent schedule and I'm doing it the best, it's when I get up in the morning and do it before I do everything. I will say, my workouts in the morning are way worse. Like, I literally have less endurance and I can't lift as heavy when I lift in the morning. And when I randomly do my evening workouts, I'm like, holy shit, I'm just way stronger than I normally am. So it's just, must be a waking up and getting the muscles moving and warmed up and stuff, like a case of that. But it's like a significant difference. But I've just been having such a tough time getting into that. And it sucks because it's not like I work super early. I work at 8:15. So if I get up at 5:30 or 6, and I have done that before. When I first dropped out of college and I came back here and I was working at Jimmy John's, I didn't work till 10. But even though I didn't work till 10, I still was getting up at 5 in the morning. I was trying to get to the gym and get home before my parents would leave for work. Just to, I don't know, that was whatever. I don't know why that was my goal, but that's what I did.
If that's what it is, that's what it is.
Yeah, and I did it for probably 6 months straight. So I've done it before and forced myself to become a morning person and get into that routine. I'd go to bed at 9 or 9:30, fall asleep, wake up.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah, it does. It does. It sucks because if my whole life was just pushed back a little bit, because I prefer, like we were just saying, we are night owls. Like, I would prefer to go to bed at 1 in the morning or something like that, because I like doing my fun stuff and relaxing at night and later like that.
Yeah,
but it feels so good to get up in the morning and do stuff. So it's really being torn between two different things. Sacred Symbols, Colin Moriarty's, that podcast, that PlayStation 1 that I bring up very often. He lives like a fucking child, but he makes I don't know how much it is, but let's just say he has 15,000 subscribers on Patreon, and those all pay a minimum of $5 a month, and possibly more for some of them. So he's making probably $100,000 a month. Probably not in his pocket because he's got the company, but anyway, so that stuff doesn't matter. He's really successful, is what I'm getting at. But he goes to bed at 3 or 4 in the morning, and he wakes up at what would that be? Probably like 11 or 12 every day, and he starts his podcast and starts his day at like 1 p.m.
Yeah,
and he's like, yeah, man, this is just the way I prefer to live. He gets up, he works out, he goes to the gym, he eats once a day. It's really weird. I don't think it's not a healthy thing.
That's
the way
not
that
healthy
he does
at all.
And he eats shit food for the most part. But other than, I mean, he's a smart guy. He's not, he's not perfect, just like most people. But like, I just kind of envy that. I'm like, that's dope. It's a little bit too late, and a little bit too late in the day to wake up, and a little bit too staying up too late. But
going past 12 is brutal.
It is.
It feels wrong.
Today I slept until 11, which is the latest that I've slept in a while, and I was like, oh, I went full bummy.
Well, even then, since I changed thank God, like just changing my work schedule from working nights to days again. Like, I used to sleep into god-awful hours because that was just kind of how it was.
I've worked a swing shift.
But now that I'm back on days, I can tell I'm like, I can't hardly like stay in bed past 10 at the latest.
Yeah,
and,
that's pushing
and even then, I'm normally up, hopefully around, like, if it's a weekend, like 9, I'm just kind of like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Ready to go. It's like the perfect time for getting up and doing whatever you need.
Yeah, I've worked those swing shifts, that company that I worked at in Pullman right after I dropped out of college too. And that was, what was it, like 3:15 to 11:45, I think is what the schedule was, 3:15 p.m. to 11:45 p.m. Sure. And after I would get off work, my work had a gym, which was really cool. So I would go straight to the gym. So I'd work out at 12:30 in the middle of the night.
Jeez.
And then go home, go to bed at maybe 2 or 2:30, and then wake up at like, what is that, 10 probably. Get up, do a little bit of productive things I need to do for the day, go eat, and then go to work. It was a good, productive schedule, but I never really got to live my life. Because I couldn't, because obviously everybody else functions in the evenings during the week.
Yeah.
So anytime there was anything going on during the week, and including Fridays, so I basically didn't have Friday nights because I worked till 11.
Oh, yeah, I know that feeling.
So then I would have just Saturday, which was nice. But yeah, I felt similar like I do with this job. It's a little nicer because I'm older. Then I was 21 and wanting to go out and party and all this stuff all the time. But now it's not as bad. But.
As soon as I get out of the that shift, which I just don't like that shift in general. I don't want to work that. But as soon as I got out of it, a lot of the things that I wanted to do weren't happening as often. And it was just like we're getting older and not going out as much. So, yeah.
But it just turns into different things now. Like something that I really want to do. And I guess it's really nice because I'm in the volleyball league that we have every Tuesday. That's awesome. I love that. But the couple of things now that I'm starting to make better money again, I want to do like the expensive physical hobbies that I've been wanting to do, like boxing and jiu-jitsu and hot yoga. I guess I still do, but I want to do those things, but they're really expensive. Like if I get a boxing membership, it's like $120 a month.
Exactly.
Same for jiu-jitsu. And I'm like, fuck, man. And then I wouldn't be able to go enough to make it worth it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'd have to find kind of that balance, but I don't know. I just want to do shit like that. I want to play more. I want to play more pickleball. I want to work out by doing more fun shit.
Yeah.
Not just going to the gym and lifting weights because I don't know. It's so easy to be lazy.
Well, I'll be running, maybe playing pickleball to keep my agility up, and
maybe basketball.
Maybe
basketball.
Gotta
get that Hoop Fest team.
Oh man,
come on, baby.
Well, we still don't even know the team yet.
Martine, you, me, Martine, and Dylan. I guess I don't know. We'd have to see.
That's like, I'm not thinking about that right now. Just
I'm
yet.
so excited.
Whenever that happens, I'll just show up and we're just getting it done. But
I'm definitely gonna practice a little bit.
I'll pick up a basketball a few times.
I'm just so bad. I'm just so bad.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
It's so bad.
I can't walk in completely dry like that. I have to figure out my jump shot and I can't dribble in my left hand. I can't do anything.
I can't do anything.
Yeah, I can't do anything reliably.
We're gonna get smacked.
That's always where it's just like, well, I'm just gonna be a body. I might get knocked over, and I might say I'm definitely gonna say some things I shouldn't. And that's if there's anything Hoop Fest brings out of me, it's a mouth that
feisty.
That I just don't refuse to shut up. So,
well, let's get into talking about a few things here. So, Severance, I didn't get to watch enough of. I only watched. We can talk about this real quick, but I think I want to do a deeper dive into it next week because that's when the last episode comes out.
I think
there's
right? 2 more episodes.
Are they both going to be out by next week? Like, does one come out?
I would think this is next one.
Didn't the second to last one just come out?
Well, I think there's 10 episodes this season.
Oh, there's more than last.
So I think we're going to be on 9 and then 10.
Either way, we could talk about it sporadically a little bit. We can plan to do the deep dive of season 2 when that last episode comes out because I only watched 3 episodes of season 2. But I do just want to talk about me getting up to current to where I spoiled myself.
That's true. You are officially back in action.
I am. So, my God, man. It's so, thinking back on it now, it's so interesting to see, like, I can kind of see why, especially with everything that was going on in the house while I was doing it, I can kind of see why I didn't realize this was in a different season. It was what I said before. The God, what's the word that I'm looking for? Just the areas that they're in. Like, it doesn't look different.
The sets and stuff.
The sets, the sets don't look different than the first season. Like, they're still in the severed floor in the same kind of office space. They still, at least when we go to, because we had seen my God, what's his sister's name?
Devin.
We had seen Devin's house before in episode 1.
True.
So, and when we were in her house in episode 2, I recognized most of the characters. There weren't a lot of new characters. It was weird seeing Christopher Walken in season 2, though, because that was the first time I had ever seen him. And he was just creeping, watching Irv out of his car. I was like, that's how they're introducing Christopher Walken? That's so weird. Because I'm just looking at this from my brain that didn't understand everything.
You were already seeing Audi Bird just chilling.
Yeah, and so I thought, and because, like I said in the very first episode of the season, of the series premiere, I thought that it moved faster than I thought it was going to move. I didn't think we were going to go see their Audi versions. We were only seeing Mark's, really. But I didn't think we were going to see that in the first episode. So in the quote-unquote second episode that I wasn't surprised to see everybody else's Audis in there too. But I was confused and like, what just happened? Because I thought they were just teasing me and showing me like, oh, they got out and like something happened and they just haven't shown us yet that, and they were going to jump back to that. Let alone I know it was the complete fucking opposite. But it was so weird watching it back again and just seeing the context of everything and understanding obviously the fucking Helly review and her apologizing to Selvig and all this stuff. And the context of it definitely changed things a lot. It was,
so you watched 3 episodes. I guess like what was the last episode?
I don't remember. Yeah. Unfortunately, they blend together because I watched them all at the same time.
Have you gotten to? I don't. It's called the Ortbo, I think is the name. It's like an acronym used for something. If you don't know that, you probably haven't seen it.
Yeah, I don't think
They go on like there's a retreat episode kind of a thing. Like,
okay.
Like a team building.
Yeah.
Okay, so you probably haven't seen it.
It's so interesting what they got going on now in season 2. How I just wonder what the fuck the board is and like what they're letting them do and how they're. It's really weird that they have the child receptionist girl now. That was Huang.
Miss
yeah.
Huang.
Yeah. That shit's so weird. And when Mark first meets her and they're doing the ball tossing thing, he's like, I made 4 new friends. And she just looks at him and she's like, I am your supervisor, not your friend. And he's like, 3 new friends. Yeah. He rolls it back over to her. I'm like, man, this show's good.
I love that season 2 starts off with hitting everyone with a new team.
Yeah.
And you're like, no.
Yeah.
No way. No. Like, as an audience member, I'm like, this better be a 1 episode thing. Like, you feel like Mark, where you're like, there's absolutely no way I'm working with other people. There's no way.
The sabotage that he tries to do, and they're all like...
Tries to plant the message on the old dude.
Yeah, we're like, bro, like, this is your handwriting. What are we trying to do?
Yeah, Milchek just being like, you didn't even try to cover your handwriting, dude. Like, we all know it's you. So, I love that aspect. And just knowing, like, yeah, no, there's no way. Like, we're bringing everyone back. Don't worry about it.
It's just going so much more into the culty, like, religious vibes, too.
Yeah,
season 2, diving into it way harder. And I just really wonder... God, Selvig is so fucking freaky, dude. She should be in a horror movie. That actress, whoever she is, because just with her looking out the window at their braids. This is season 1 stuff, but still, she just freaks me out, destroying her whole shrine. I just wonder what the unsevered people that are managing the severed floor. Like, I want to see more context of them and their backstory stuff and what made them so ingratiated into this culty, vibey
So
that's
where I'm still in the boat of, like, and I'll say, like, I'm only a matter of, so many episodes ahead of you.
Yeah.
But I've still said I think my favorite, or I think the most interesting character is Milchek for me, where I don't know enough about him. I don't know anything about him, and that's key to him is he's just an enigma. You're trying to figure out he's so loyal to the company, so loyal to Lumen. God. He'll do anything for them. But he has to he's kind of bad at his job. He's constantly having to wrangle everyone together.
Every episode, like multiple times an episode.
But it makes you think, so why the fuck wouldn't Milchek's not necessarily good at his job, but then again, they really need to make sure these people finish the job. So it's kind of it does not matter what it takes. The key to everything is getting, preferably Mark, to do his damn job.
Yeah, and I wonder why it's Mark specifically that they're so wanting him to do stuff so specifically.
Because they canned everyone else, but they kept Mark.
Yeah.
So he's
apparently that was because his Audi said he still wanted to stay in there because they gave him the raise and stuff. But
sure.
Yeah,
sure. This is the thing. Anything that comes out of someone's mouth from who works for Lumen, I'm just like, no, I don't believe you.
I'm wondering if the grand scheme of things, and this is me just kind of hypothesizing for in the future of what it might be, is they're not actually doing anything, and maybe it's just just an experiment to see how they can control people and how people rebel. And maybe that's what the whole thing is. And they're not doing shit. They're all like, what are my theories about what we're doing? Cleaning up the ocean for Dylan's thing. It's like, they're not doing anything.
Yeah.
They are just seeing how they can be... Because otherwise, how the fuck are they still letting them wander around? Like, that was the one thing about season 1 where I'm like, why are they letting them do all these things?
Exactly.
It seems too easy that they're doing this stuff.
I feel like anyone watching has to ask that to be like...
Especially in season 2.
To really be keying in on the whole aspect of the show is like... Why are we letting them just be idiots?
If you're this horrible, awful company that has this control over people in this severed floor, it doesn't make sense that you're letting him get away with and do quite this much and bringing him back and letting him do it again.
Because it has to be one big controlled experiment.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, like it has to be someone outside of the town itself is watching monitors 24/7.
Yeah,
and is watching the people watching monitors.
Yeah, they're like we don't have any cameras or mics. I'm like,
But like bullshit.
There's no like why.
Yeah. Oh yeah. When they bring everyone back in to watch the video,
yeah.
and then Milchek leaves, and he's like, "You're basically free to go if you want, and if not,
hall pass.
You can stay." I love that idea too, where you would think everyone would want to get out, but at the same time, this company's so nasty. You can tell if we just leave, we're gone. This doesn't exist. We don't exist, and the story gets canned.
Yeah.
So they know they have to actually like stay there and work from the inside out if they want to make anything come out of this, like rebellion of any sort, or like figuring out what are we doing, why are we here, why is this so fucked up? Like,
do you think so? I think this is the episode, something that happened in episode 3. I'm pretty sure it is. Maybe it was episode 1. I don't know. It's so hard. They all blend together. But Dylan meeting his wife. Do you think that's his wife?
That's a good question.
I feel like it's not his wife.
I think it is.
You think so?
Because she
did a good job at acting like she was.
Because I think it's fucked up. That seems like such a Lumen thing to do. Is they're gonna be like, what better way to get this chick to convince her bum ass husband to stay at this job?
Yeah.
We're gonna make her fall in love with the other version. Like, it's so manipulative. They know who Dylan is. They know how he is, and they're letting this woman who. This doesn't happen for anyone else. No one else is getting, like, notice how secretive Milchek was, obviously, about, like, nobody else gets this treatment, buddy. Well, because we kind of fucked up earlier, but we need to keep one of you as ours. Like, like, Dylan, come on. You're going to see your wife later. Yeah. You know how much you love those
every
sessions.
Week or whatever.
Yeah, those sessions are amazing. He is now committed to and I think they're purposely using his wife as she is to fall in love with a version that no longer exist. And it's like really fucked up because now any Mark is going to be like, no, I'm never leaving. This woman loves me. And I've never had these feelings before.
Dylan?
Any Dylan, yeah. Okay, any Dylan.
Because I want to talk about Mark in a second.
Yeah, any Dylan's now pretty committed to like, I just got to like check the boxes and I'll get to have this new relationship with this woman.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck, that's so messed up on... that this is your wife, but you're kind of a fucking nothing outside.
Yeah.
It's like,
I haven't seen that much of him. I've only seen the little bit that they showed of him doing the like door job interview in season 2. I don't know if they show more of him in his Audi, but he did seem like he did seem like kind of a dick. And
you'll see
not a great relationship.
One more session where it's just like this company has everyone by the balls, everyone, and I think as we're talking about it keys into more and more and more of why they're doing it. Why are people there? What's the goal? What's the job? What are they doing? I think it has a lot more to say about that, and I can't say too much because a lot more of the next episodes give you so much. It's crazy. Like the show is so crazy good at like just every episode has something at least.
Every time,
like
every episode,
something that is a key aspect of what is being shown, and like a new plot point of like, oh damn, okay, we didn't know that. So
Mark and Helly walking around. Oh my god, the fucking goat room with the Game of Thrones chick.
Okay, that did happen. That did happen. That's a pretty weird.
That was so. I'm like, okay, they just introduced a whole nother aspect of weird culty people within the building, another department.
Just a fucking crazy area.
And seeing, I don't know the actress's name, but the Game of Thrones.
Brienne of Tarth.
Yeah, Brienne of Tarth. And she's also Captain Phasma in the Star Wars movies. But she doesn't even see her face, and they just kill her for no reason. She does nothing. Anyways, we don't need to talk about that. That was fucking weird. But when they're going down in the hallway and walking to go find the goats, they're talking about the aspects of like Mark's talking about my wife Gemma down here and I love her and all that stuff, and like they're kind of like not saying it but subtly hinting at like, what if you do find her and you fall in love? It gets into some little soap opera-y type stuff where they're like, are you gonna love her? And she's like, no. Or he's like, no, that's my wife on the outside. I don't even know her. And so there's gonna be some weird love triangle shit going on with them.
I definitely can't. Yeah. I can say nothing about that. Okay. I can say nothing. I'll just say what you're hitting on is actually one of my favorite points of the show.
Hell yeah. I'm excited to see.
I think it gets explored in ways that are very interesting and bring up so many facets of like human relationships.
I was wondering because I know I said in a very basic like love triangle aspect, but knowing the show and what they've given to me in a season and a half almost, they're going to subvert my expectations in a different way where they're going to do something cool with it. That's not like super basic and like, oh, who do I love? Who do I not love? They're going to do some weird separate shit.
It's very fascinating. I think that's why I love it. Is like any movie can have a love angle or romance plot for some reason to just get these characters together. But the way they're taking some of the, I don't know, like we said, like season 1 starts and opens, season 2 is bringing it back.
Yeah.
And I really, really like how they're doing that with just certain tweaks of, like, it's just the human psyche and, like, the brain, how we think of things, how you perceive people, how you trust people, there's so many levels to it, and I think it's just so fascinating. That's why, once you finish up and get caught up on season 2, there's still so much more that has to be talked about, honestly.
I'm pretty excited.
I don't even know where the season's going to end. Like, with how season 1 ended, I don't know where season 2 ends. I don't even know where we'll be at necessarily, or, like, I have no idea.
I'm excited. That's a good thing. That's a great thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll finish up, and we might talk, if I can get caught up, we might talk about the newest episode that comes out next week on the podcast, but then we'll definitely do a full deep dive on season 2 in 2 weeks, it sounds like, when all the episodes are out.
On the site that I watch it on, allegedly, I noticed the last time I was watching, on Thursday nights, I was able to watch the episode. So I was like,
so the thing that I watched stuff on allegedly too has, Daredevil Born Again. Didn't I tell you about this last week?
Yeah.
Yeah, it has the whole fucking season out.
For Daredevil?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That reminds me, I need to actually watch that. Before we dive into the movie, because Cody and I went and saw a movie on Sunday, a movie actually in the theaters. But before we dive into this, I want to do a quick touch update on Invincible. So the penultimate episode of Invincible, the second to last one, episode 7, I believe, out of 8, came out last week. And I think that the last episode comes out on Thursday. And my God, dude, I fucking love this show. This show is awesome. You should watch it if you can. I know there's a lot going on right now, but I just want somebody to talk to about it, because Blair watches it, but he's waiting until the full season comes out, so he's not going to watch it all until next week. And other than that, I don't. Maybe my parents. But I don't think they're current on it. My parents watch it. I introduced them to it.
That's not what I expected.
But there's so much going on in this show, and I love it. And so but what I do with everything, and why I want to start this podcast and YouTube channels and stuff, is like, I love going and watching a movie or watching a TV show that I really like, and then watching somebody else break it down or review it or dive deeper into it, get more expansive on the lore of it. I love that shit. So I watched probably a few hours of YouTube explaining what's going on in Invincible in this last episode that just happened, because apparently, and I was surprised by this because I thought the show's been fucking awesome the whole time. It's very sporadic and very fast. There's a lot of storylines happening at the same time, but it kind of works. It's very comic book-esque, where, like, it's just, you're on a different page and there's something totally different happening on it. It just jumps around a lot, but it works. Oh my God, I lost my train of thought. God damn it. But it's, that's what it was. So just where I'm at right now, apparently in the comics, is where this show just or the comic book, the story, I guess, really takes off and gets insane. It apparently is like this episode that I just watched and the ending of this episode. Oh, damn. And what's really cool is watching the YouTube videos and the breakdowns and stuff, is that and what I think is so awesome, we should talk about, I want to talk about the Lilo and Stitch trailer that came out today. I don't know if you saw it or not, but what's really awesome is that they keep it so, at least from what the comic book nerds on YouTube that I watch, they say it's really close to the actual story in the comics. Literally, it's hard to explain without, like, spoiling things or talking about stuff, but, like, what happens at the end of the last episode that I watch is a direct scene and comic book picture that happens in the show. It's like it's exactly the same, and it's really cool because I didn't think this was going to happen this earlier, because I kind of knew about this guy from watching other episodes, but I was teasing. So I thought that the thing that I watch these shows on, the app that I allegedly stream stuff on, I thought that it might have the last episode on there early too, and I went on there and it looked like it did, but I went on and clicked on it and it was a false. Yeah. It was not actually an episode. And I was like, fuck, because I was so ready to watch it. But I love this show. I think it is a really good refresher and, like, unique for superheroes, and the voice acting is so cool, and it's really interesting because I forget the name of them, but whoever the person is that basically made all the Walking Dead seasons is the one who's doing Invincible, And so that person has brought over so many voice actors from The Walking Dead.
Oh, nice.
And the new bad guy that got introduced in this last episode is voiced by Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
I was going to say, is it Jeffrey Dean Morgan? Because that's the only main iconic bad guy I can remember.
Yeah. Stephen Yen is the Glenn from The Walking Dead. He's the voice actor of the main character.
Oh, he was in the movie we're going to watch.
Yeah, I know.
We're going to talk about.
Yeah, but it's really good, and I'm excited. Maybe I'll have fucking Blair on if he actually watches the whole thing, so we can do maybe an episode just to talk about that, because I really love this show.
Out of like everything that's superhero oriented, would you say this is the one to watch more than anything else? If I'm to choose like anything superhero, I would think you'd probably have to pick between this or The Boys.
It's a coin flip between those two.
Yeah.
I would have said The Boys for sure up until this last season, and then up until this season of Invincible, because The Boys was like definitely on another level of Invincible. I think until this last season brought The Boys down a little bit, and this last season of Invincible brought it up a bit.
Nice.
So now it's a coin flip. It's cool and unique, and there's always new interesting story, and I think because it's like directly pulled from a comic book, it's like just the story and the way that it progresses is a little bit different, because it jumps off on tangents so quick and comes back to them. So they always bring those things back.
How long are episodes?
35, 40 minutes.
Okay, so
a little less than an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a good pace, and they're 8 episode seasons, I think. So it's not, and there's only 3 seasons, so it's not too much to watch. The animation isn't great, but I think that's kind of part of the charm of it. It's been getting a little bit better. And what was really cool, and I think I talked about this when I talked about the season premiere initially, is that it didn't take them 3 years to release the second or the third season from the second season this time. Thank God. I think it was only a year, because I just lost so much interest with that. But yeah, it's dope. And real quick, I want to talk about this Lilo and Stitch trailer, because I actually thought it looked better than I thought. And the reason being is because it seems like they're not changing much. It seems like, and I love Lilo and Stitch, though, that original movie. It's probably one of my favorite Disney movies, if not like my favorite. It's just the soundtrack and the vibe and Hawaii and aliens and all that stuff. It seems like they are trying to do as close to a 1-for-1 remake as they can. Kind of like how I was talking about How to Train Your Dragon before with that live action thing, and how it seems like it's a 1-for-1 and they're not changing much.
Yeah.
That was DreamWorks, but this is Disney, and it seems like it is the same. And I definitely got a little bit of nostalgic feels for it. I still think Stitch looks ridiculous. But seeing Pleakley and Jumba and
I think I was more impressed at how it looked. Like I wasn't like no.
When I first saw Stitch like in the teaser, I was like that. I was
really?
like, no, I don't think.
I don't know if I had that feeling. I can't really remember even if I saw that. But in this trailer, I was like, all right. Again, I'm not the audience probably. I'm pretty clocked out on a lot of Disney stuff, especially like it's tough to sell me on a remake of a movie that I already know and love.
It's just a fucking cash grab.
And just seeing it differently. But I get, for a new generation of kids, they want something that's a little more modern, I guess. And it's like, sure, I guess if you don't fuck around with it too much, it's
just make something new.
That's where I think I'd rather. You're already treading on something that's been done, so now you're gonna have a split crowd: people who want it exactly the way it was, or people who want it to change a little bit. And if it's not one or the other, you're fucking pissed.
Yeah.
And you're never gonna appease everyone, and so it's where it's like, just go to new stuff, I guess. Like, just try.
Be creative. Don't just go for cash grabs. You're I don't want to dive too deep into this Disney bullshit.
Yeah, it's
they can, but they're fucking up. Have you seen what's going on with Snow White? The horrible. No. You probably don't even know. Probably because I only know because of a certain YouTube channel that I've been watching. This is the only reason that I'm caught up and know about this Snow White stuff. And I don't remember all the exact details of it, but long story short, they had a lot of Rachel Zegler, you know her. She's Snow White in the movie, and Gal Gadot is the evil queen or whatever. Excuse me, sorry. Rachel Zegler though said some shit that pissed people off, some anti-woke, non-whatever stuff. I don't even remember what it was. I don't really give a shit about that, but it has I think the highest dislike trailer dislike to like ratio on a trailer ever. I think like they have like 80,000 likes and 1 million dislikes or something like that.
Did they make? Is that movie out? Did
it comes out this weekend? I think March 21st. So what's
really?
that next weekend?
We'll see. Like as much as that's the case, whatever the box office does, that's the king of the answer. Like that's all that matters.
Well, it's projecting to be possibly one of the worst box office opening weekends ever for Disney ever.
I guess I'm so like lackluster on even thinking about it because I just go, it's Disney. They have the money. This is a drop in the bucket. It does not matter. Like,
but they've been doing it a lot lately.
I still think it's all drops
in
the bucket.
You're right, but it has
like they'll keep doing it. They'll just keep fucking. We're on a Lilo and Stitch. We'll get another fucking Cinderella.
They'll ride those random hits.
We'll get like every 5 years. There's another.
They already did a Cinderella.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They're gonna do another one in 5 years, and it'll just be with an Asian chick this time.
Yeah,
and so it's like, who cares? I don't really care. It's not like it's not my thing, and that's where it's stuff like the movie that we just saw that I'm more excited about to see is stuff that just seems new, just an idea that I'm like, I don't even know what this is.
Let's talk about it. So on Sunday, Cody and I, along with Dilly and his girlfriend, we went and saw a movie called Mickey 17. Robert Pattinson, Mark Ruffalo. I was super excited to go see it because this is an A24 movie, and A24 has a pretty damn good track record, at least for me personally. I think A24 is fucking awesome. They did Hereditary, they did Civil War. What are some of the other big ones that you can think of? I can't think of any off the top of my head.
They've done a bunch.
They've done like a lot, and they have so much coming out soon.
There's really high highs, and then I think they're not all hits necessarily for me, like everything. Yeah. But they do have a lot of stuff that I like.
And it's cool because they're usually really unique premises and kind of fucking weird, and it's a bit more indie, not giant blockbuster.
Well, there's no franchises.
No, and that's awesome.
Yeah, it's just always a singular kind of idea. Maybe a sequel if it really blew up or something. But this movie was directed by Bong Joon-ho, who did Parasite, which I haven't seen. Cody's seen. Parasite's really good.
Because that's a Korean film.
I think that one picked best movie of the year.
I think it won. Best film
whatever
last year,
year.
The Grammys or not the Grammys,
Oscars,
the Oscars or something like that.
Very well regarded, and he's done other movies that are well regarded. I'm trying to think of another one.
But this is probably his biggest film just because of the post release of Parasite, and it's biggest as in like numbers wise, like probably the biggest budget, probably the biggest
probably the most eyes on it. With attaching his name after Parasite is now you don't even need anything else. If you do from Bong Joon-ho, director of Parasite, people are like, oh, I want to see this.
We'll see how it goes too, because that was the same thing with Jordan Peele when Get Out came out,
and then
all of his movies post then, at least to me, have been fine. They're not bad, they're not good, but Get Out was so fucking cool, and now every time Jordan Peele's name is on something, or people are like, oh, I need to go see it. Maybe not as much now that they haven't been hitting as hard, but I feel like Bong Joon-ho is kind of dipping into that a little bit just with this movie.
Yeah, and he has a niche of a certain movie with a satirical side where everything is shown a certain way, and is this movie was pretty slapping you in the face with commentary on our social
go ahead,
state of affairs.
Go ahead, so just say what you kind of first initial thoughts of this movie, what you thought about it.
Walking out really weird.
I felt the weirdness of everybody in our group. It was
really weird.
Not in a good weird.
Yeah, not the ooh, super unique and interesting. It was just what?
It could have been.
Huh? All questions, no answers.
We're doing spoilers the whole time. We're not going to do a spoiler-free thing.
We watched it, and now we're going to talk about it. So we're going to say a bunch of shit.
This movie is not what the trailers and the name of this movie is about. I think that is my biggest thing coming out of this. I thought it was going to be an existential, kind of figuring, a really deep dive into, there being two of you, and, you get reprinted and all. I thought we were going to dive into that. That's what this movie was going to be about.
Yeah.
This movie was not about that. This movie was about a Trumpy Mark Ruffalo that is fighting off Starship Trooper worm aliens. I was what the fuck?
What? And to me, I'd say it felt 10 10 different things trying all at once.
And that makes sense because I learned that this movie was reshot a lot and had a bit of production issues. Was it? Yeah.
So that's where I think you can feel the reshoots. Is there's just times
I learned that after we watched it.
You're just like in a plot line, and the first 30 minutes is establishing Mickey.
Yeah.
You watch him die, his Mickey 17, and then you get to see all the moments leading up to that point where they retrace his
but
getting
it's just
on the ship.
But it's just VO. Like, it would have been cool to kind of like see that in the story would have been cool.
Yeah, like you only see so much of him, and he kind of just narrates his life, and then you get back to the point of it's Mickey's
for half an hour.
Yeah, half an hour of backstory, and then we're back to the current moment, which is his Mickey 17 dying, but he doesn't actually die.
He gets saved by the evil Starship Trooper worms that aren't evil. They're really kind and sweet and all. Like,
he gets carried away by the aliens and then is just alive. And now that's the moment they decide to tell you, like, oh, by the way, having multiples is like a federal crime.
And then they give you a whole nother VO backstory of
why
the guy
why this is bad.
Yeah.
Why it's a bad thing. It's like, okay, sure.
Also, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I don't even know if I have more to say. It's just like everything. Also, I'm sidetracking because I can't follow it.
Also, and this is something because I thought this a little bit coming out of the movie or while I was watching the movie, but like it got it reinforced when I watched a couple of reviews of it. But why the fuck is Mickey 18 completely different personality wise than Mickey 17?
I do think that I was thinking about that too.
Because all the previous ones
they show the one lab dude when they're playing the game, he trips on the cord and it unplugs from his brain. And
that's right, because they never mentioned that.
That is Mickey 18 getting printed because that's right after the very beginning. They show Mickey 17 dead, and then you go to Mickey 18 that they'd be printing. The guy trips over it, it unlocks from his head. That I actually can give credit that they directly showed the moment. And enough people in comments said it, and I was like, I think. So
you saw other people talk about that too?
Okay,
because I was going to say like
multiple other people were like, he trips on the brain cord. I think like that has to be why.
That's interesting. Doesn't make up for everything, but it was weird because that in a few because I watched Chris Struckman and Jeremy Johns and another random guy all review it, and they all were like, I can't remember what Chris said specifically, but they all were like, why is Mickey 18 different than Mickey 17? Like, maybe it was just a little plot hole thing that I missed
all
or something.
The prior ones were the same.
Yeah.
Because the idea is you're always implanting the same memories to the same thing every time.
It's exactly the same.
It's always,
same person.
and you're gaining the memories of your prior ones, too. Yeah. So you have everything. And I think it's just the brain, like the cord getting tripped on. I think that's why.
That's
kind of weird. Again.
It's weird because it's not like if they would have ever brought it up again.
Yeah, they don't say anything about it.
Yeah.
So there is a little bit of like trusting in the viewer, I think, too much. Or if that, maybe it's the wrong way of saying it. Maybe it's the director had too much faith in himself at times to think like they'll get it. Or like it's fine. Or again, I don't think it's like, this isn't a bad movie. It's one of those weird ones where it's like, no, it's not bad, but it's trying too many things at once. And
it's unfinished.
And it never nails any single one of them.
No.
So you kind of just walk away feeling, for me, it just unsatisfied. Where I was just like, what was the point of a lot of that?
It's diving into social commentary of Trump stuff, which I said this when we came out of the movie. It's like, it's becoming such a tired thing in media where they're just like directly... Oh, there's some leader dictator guy who has fake teeth and looks kind of orange and his hair's all done up. And guess what? His followers, they wear red hats.
Yeah.
Wow, what a surprise.
Yeah.
But it's in The Boys. And The Boys, I think it was good initially. Now they've just dived way too much into it and are focusing on it way too much. Initially, it was a bit more subtle, isn't the right word, but it just wasn't as in your face, blah, blah, blah stuff. And so The Boys, it was really cool. Now it's in The Boys. Now it's in Mickey 17 that we just watched. And I brought up a third movie when we were leaving the theater, too, where it's very direct, just like... But basically, it's just happening too much. It's like, I get it. You guys fucking hate Trump. I get it. But, like, does it have to be the main point of your movie in all your movies?
And I can totally get down with the idea of making fun of the character. Because he's easily the biggest character to make fun of. And it's funny. He's like, it's hilarious most of the time.
It is.
But
it's like too
this
much.
actually feels like a caricature. It's like a cartoon.
Yeah.
At certain times where you're just like, where are we going in this? Like, I could never understand the vibe. I couldn't pinpoint any, like, am I supposed to think of him as just this nasty, disgusting man who has zero remorse for any, like, I don't know if I can get behind that full, like, Trump's just like a bad guy, therefore we're just gonna make him the ultimate asshole on planet Earth, which is like, I get it, but no redeemable qualities of any sort, and you're telling me this?
And
guy,
he's just an idiot who wants to be on camera. He's got the teeth.
And again,
his
I get
telling him, or
I can hear people. I feel like where they're like, exactly how look at the state of our United States right now with our president. And I'd be like, sure, but like, there's still a dude who like had a business and like made a name for himself to some extent, and then did a lot of manipulation socially and politically to his advantage. Don't get me wrong. That's totally true.
As they all do.
But it's like, it just makes no sense why this guy actually would have made it this far. And nobody would have been like, until we are watching the people finally stand up for themselves in the movie at the end and be like, you're a bad guy. Kind of.
Yeah, kind of.
Like, it's like a half-ass, like everyone's like, I think this is kind of wrong what they're doing.
But again, when it comes to the half-ass things, like the main three big things that I can think of are the Mark Ruffalo Trumpy, the Starship Trooper aliens, and the Mickey 17, the name of the fucking movie, and existential, deep, thought-provoking stuff of like having another version of yourself. All three of those are prominent things in this movie. All three of them aren't delved into enough to like actually make you think and like dive deep into it. Because Starship Troopers is great and cool because of they have the whole first build up of like you need to Starship Troopers just in general. That's a whole podcast that we can talk about. But just diving in and like thinking how these aliens, these bug guys, are these evil things, and they show them murdering and just killing people in these god awful ways and all this stuff. But then it turns out that they're defending themselves because we were fucking up and killing them. I don't know, all that stuff. This movie does that on like a 10% scale, and it's like not finished or delved into.
The aliens aren't even bad.
No, they never do anything.
They've done nothing bad.
No, they just exist. They just scared Donald Trump, and then he called them creepers.
Yeah, they're. I feel like that's where I kind of cue out. Is I'm like, okay, if it's a Trump thing,
Starship Troopers works because they fuck them up. In the beginning,
like
and then they realize.
if it's a Trump thing, I actually believe if this was Trump, he would look at the scenario and be like, "What's wrong? I don't get it." Like, I don't think he would just immediately exterminate. Like, that's the kind of like slapping me in the face with shit where I'm like, okay. It's a bit overboard. I'm still kind of buying in, I guess, but the aliens are just not explained enough. Like they're only there at the beginning. Another plot point is nobody gets that he was saved by the aliens till he finally says something at the end. At the very end, he's like, "They saved me," and it's like, how has nobody figured out how he became alive? How he's still alive?
No, nobody's questioning
Nobody's actually asked.
That's the thing.
Fuck?
And so the third one, I went over Trump. I went over the aliens. The third one, which is the biggest one, is the name of the movie, Mickey 17, and not diving in, I've already said this a couple times, but diving into the thought-provoking thing of having another version of yourself and having to deal with it. They basically just both become like buddies and like, hey, we're going to take over this thing because they're fucking us over pretty much right away. They fight for a little bit.
The only thing they really cue in on is like a love aspect with the girls. And that's only for 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, that other thing too, where they have the Mickey 17 going and almost hooking up with what the bisexual girl's name?
Kaya.
Something like that.
Something like that.
And then they don't. And then her and the black girl, their girlfriend, I don't remember. Nasha. They talk under the stairs for a couple minutes, and Nasha's like high on whatever they're oxy.
Yeah, there's also a drug aspect that's added in.
They never bring up Kai again.
Nope.
Until they show her at the end of the movie with her girlfriend that got smashed. How did that happen? They decided to 3D print her
because she's bisexual too, and that's an important aspect. That just like
how did she come back? She got smashed under rocks and died, and that was the whole point of Kai's little bit of character arc that they showed. And then the whole thing was like, we're not going to 3D print people because multiples and all this stuff is fucked. And then while they're blowing it up, they show her on there, and maybe that was Bong Joon-ho's point, is like all this stuff is just kind of nonsense. I don't know, but either way, it's just a lot of unfinished plots, but.
It was too.
It's just so much of that.
Yeah, there was not enough for me to know what was going on at all times. Even like, I was just trying so hard to figure out what the point was. I guess, and that's bad because I think a good movie just lets you enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah,
you don't feel like you need anything out of it. It just happens, and it's like this movie. I'm sitting there just trying to be like, yeah, why? But why?
Yeah,
like, we got nothing out of this. All I have after walking out is I'm like, okay, so I'm in a near future, I hope I don't exist through. I'm not going to be the guy that gets on the ship that's going to go try and cultivate a planet for the superior species. That sounds very whitewashed in all the way, wrong ways.
Just so blatant.
It's so blatant, and I don't know. Maybe that's where I'm like, some people I think need the blatant slap in the face, where it's like, this is what our world's like. For me, I'm like, it's a bit much, buddy. Like, it's too much. I don't know.
It just wasn't a very creative way to do it.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah,
it wasn't. It was like, okay, you're literally. It just felt more like you're literally saying what you're thinking rather than trying to make us think about what you're saying.
Yeah,
I guess is.
Yeah,
I think that was a really good quote I just made up.
Well, what's up with? I guess the only thing I can so Mark Ruffalo's wife. They have this thing about sauce, and the
sauce thing was I forgot about the sauce.
Yeah, there's
thing.
they're really
the end in Mickey's nightmare of the sauce. Oh god,
they're
that
obsessed
scene.
with sauce. I guess that's maybe supposed to be an analogy just for
obsessed with money,
capitalism. You're just obsessed with something that actually has no fucking point. This is literally pointless. It means nothing hardly, and you're so. I saw some people that was their oh no, the takeaway. It's like. They're so focused on the sauce they couldn't even see how crazy it was that they were maniacal leaders killing people. I'm like,
that seems
like that's actually the worst take I've ever heard. That sounds that just seems so disconnected from reality where it's like you need I don't know. There's certain movies I think that have gotten away with the dystopian aspect where you can really be like, this is a different world. It's different everything. Yeah. But this was trying to feel so much like it could be tomorrow.
Future world.
That not far away that people are hopping on a ship and doing this, and there's just so many things that were taken to. I don't know. I haven't seen it in reality. If in 15 years people are in ships and there's this kind of stuff happening, I will take. You know what? I'll bite my tongue.
It just feels like it's taking aspects from so many other movies and just doing it worse, like Starship Troopers that I said at first, and WALL-E. WALL-E does the Earth is trashed and we're going to live on ships or migrate. In WALL-E, it's living on ships. In this, it's being on ships to other planets. But WALL-E just dives because WALL-E's focused on that.
That's his only goal.
Yeah, the whole movie is focused on humans left because it's trashed and they come back and they find themselves all that stuff. WALL-E is fucking awesome. But this movie is just kind of a small subplot of the intro of the voiceover of Robert Pattinson in the beginning, and it that's what I'm just saying. It's just trying to say so many things and do so many things all at the same time.
And you've said it too. We've had to look up a lot of stuff about it to even understand why it feels this way. And another thing, it's based on a book. The
Mickey
book
7.
is Mickey 7.
Yeah.
I saw or read from multiple people saying Bong Joon-ho changed it to 17 because he felt that it would be more understandable and relatable as a coming of age, turning 17 and then turning 18, when you're an adult, quote unquote.
It's
I
never got that.
Could have fooled me. Wouldn't have known. Would not have known because. And I saw another thing where people were like, "This is again touched on for 5 seconds, and then you're expected to make this monumental connection." They talk about how you get a little bit of backstory for Mickey as his mom. He was in a car crash with his mom when he was younger.
Oh my god, how did I forget about that?
His idea is there's a big red button in the car that he pressed, and he thinks that pressing it fucked the car up and that caused the car crash.
Oh my god, I forgot about this.
The Mickey 18 tells him, you do realize that's bullshit. You're basically creating this story in your head, and here's what's really happened. Mom just was kind of she messed up or something. I don't even remember, but it was it wasn't the button. It wasn't the button. That had nothing to do with it. So you've been beating yourself up your whole life over this button thing. The last moment of the movie is we need a human sacrifice for the aliens, and we have Mark Ruffalo's Trump character here with Mickey with the button, and he has the choice of himself or the other one. He chooses himself, and he's technically the bad one, but it's that would cue in on he's the 18. He's the adult. He might come out a little rough around the edges, but in the moment of crisis, of most need, he made the right choice. It's Mickey 17 would have hit Mickey 18, but Mickey 18 hits Mickey 18. Again, I had to read into that online, and I don't think I'm call me stupid if I don't get it, but I don't think
if I buy that.
I don't think there's enough given to show that.
I don't think 17 would. I feel like he's a dude trying to help people, and he's really nice and soft, and it's just a people pleaser.
Same thing.
That's kind of the whole
I feel point. Same thing. I feel like Mickey 17 would probably kill himself.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
So even with all that, and you were leading on in a really good point, and I like this kind of makes sense, but then me having watched the movie and then thinking about it, I'm like, I don't think that's what would happen, at least not in my opinion.
Well,
I mean, obviously it's on the eye of the beholder.
And
but
in the same sense, if he's supposed to be the more adult character, he does things that are just way more terrible.
horrible.
Like, really bad.
Just immediately starts doing drugs and fucking his other self's girlfriend. Like, it wanted to have a threesome and then going out there trying to assassinate somebody.
Just immediately a dick. So it's like turning 18 just means you get free reign to not give a fuck.
You just become adult and you get angry.
Yeah.
Which I could see that.
Like, sure, but that's such a... And also, if that's your outlook, that's pessimistic as fuck.
Yeah.
That is so not
Which maybe
cool.
maybe is the point, if that's what he's trying to get at.
And maybe that's where I'm at, too, is... It's like the movie tries to end on a note of like a high note, like we eradicated the bad guys and we've taken control of our lives. There's no more printing, so therefore we can't have these weird multiple things, and just like the ideas behind it. Okay,
cool.
Someone else will create it, or it is already being like. It just doesn't solve the problem. I feel like it just feels so weird, so bottled into this like universe that actually would never exist. That isn't possible. That's not even like obviously aliens and ships and space travel. It's like I just don't believe a group of people would agree to this. I don't believe anyone would have agreed to a lot of this. None of this really makes sense, and nobody's asking questions. Like the whole movie is just you following Mickey around, and his character is a pretty aloof, dumb guy. But like nobody is asking anything. Even Nasha, who has like a point of power, kind of. She's like a higher
also seems
soldier.
like a very bad person.
Yeah, she's also...
Like, her character in the whole... She seems like she's... I thought there was going to be something more that got introduced with her actually being a psycho and wanting to just have a bunch of Mickeys to, like, fuck them all.
Yeah,
because that's what it gave off. But then she ended up just kind of being a normal person and just getting with Mickey 17. Because she ends up doing all the drugs, but she's a law enforcement officer. She abuses her power... Which I guess maybe that's another just social commentary aspect you could try to add into there. I don't know.
That's like, I don't fucking know. I can't keep up with all these different angles you're trying to throw at me where it's like, everyone's gray. But it's like, okay, now I want black and white. Now I want people to make a fucking stand. Yeah. You need to have people that actually stand by their
Which Mickey 17 seems like he kind of does, but it's not enough because it's like...
Well, he's also just like, a pussy.
Yeah, exactly. He's
literally a bitch.
Pussy. Yeah.
He's just like, that's a part of his character traits is he's a bitch. And he never learns how to not be a bitch.
Until a different version of him is not a bitch.
I guess it takes yourself to learn that.
But not because of you, just because your brain got unplugged.
Yeah, it was actually a fuck up on someone else's part. And it was accessing a part of you don't necessarily want or like. Like it's in you, but you don't access it.
Yeah, it just went too deep, too far.
So there's too much happening. There's way too much.
We haven't even talked about Steven Yeun. Which I feel like is, I mean, I guess except for one aspect, completely pointless in every way, except for one thing where it's like, oh, he had him in this drug deal, and that's why they got on the ship to leave because he got him in a bad drug deal.
He's the reason he's
and then he's just
on.
in it. Like,
he's the reason he's on the ship.
And then he just tortures him the whole time.
Yeah, and then past that, it's like, why is this guy your friend? Why is he? Why do you
Mickey's
say he's your best friend?
Because Mickey's a pussy.
And it's like, yeah. So I don't know. Maybe it's not my movie because I don't like watching a guy be dumb who is dumb sometimes. But there's also, it's not, it felt like it was supposed to be funny. I wasn't laughing very often at all, hardly.
Yeah, I think I might have laughed at Mark Ruffalo a couple times just because it was so ridiculous.
Yeah, just like the only things I'm laughing at were more of just like, what is happening?
When Mark Ruffalo was doing some of the things where he's like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, that kind of...
Fucking
There was
weird.
a couple of scenes like that where like that was kind of funny. It's just but it was just I don't know. It's weird.
I think it hurts like coming off of watching something like Severance too, where you're like really invested in already exploring a plot line that is delving into some of these ideas, not exactly, but in a different way. Yeah. And they do it so much. Like that's why I love Severance, because every single bit of thing I'm seeing is giving me information or furthering plot that I'm interested in. And everything is interesting. Mickey 17, I wasn't interested in any of it. They couldn't pull me into any of it, and they kept just explaining shit. And I'm like, I don't fucking care.
So you could say Mickey 17 and Severance are both IPs that are introduced and just constantly make you ask more questions. Mickey 17 does that in a sporadic autistic way that makes no sense and is too diverse. Severance does it in a way where you're like, oh, I'm asking questions about this because I'm interested. in Mickey 17, you're asking questions because you're fucking confused and don't know why
Yeah.
or how this is happening. Severance, you're like, oh, so that's happening, and could this happen because of that? And Mickey 17, you're like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, why is
You're just
why did
confused.
that get introduced and then we never got brought back to it, and we're just never got, like, what was the
Yeah.
we never finished this or finished that. And Severance, you haven't finished them because it's
in
actually
a
not
movie
finished.
that has a pretty straightforward plot compared to Severance, which is like, you could ask 10 people what Severance is about, they'll give you 10 different answers.
Yeah.
And yet most people know how to explain Severance and give you a good idea of it. I can't tell you about Mickey 17. I'm just it's a big ball of like,
Before I would have seen it, I would have told you it's about a guy who's an expendable, who gets reprinted every time he dies, but this time his previous self didn't die, and now he's going to have to deal with the ramifications of that.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't really have to do it.
And guess what? It's
not really.
not that interesting. You learn nothing, and they don't really go any further than base level. So I think that's what's rough. And knowing, if you watch Parasite, I know for a fact you're going to walk away from that and you're going to go, that was so much better than Mickey 17. Like, I give Parasites like anywhere, most often it's like an 8 to 10 range for people, I would say. Like, they really like
I've heard.
This movie
of the year, it's got to be.
This movie, I'm like 5 or 6 at best. Probably. Like, I have no interest to really see it again. Love Robert Pattinson. I think he did
great.
Yeah, I think he's probably
his accent was weird.
Only reason to go see it is to see Robert Pattinson if you like him. But even that, the movie does not have enough going for it in my mind to want. And actually, who knows? Maybe I rewatch it. Maybe I rewatch it and I find things that I'm like, oh, didn't realize that.
Diving into a little bit more of the positives of this movie, with Robert Pattinson probably being the only and like the main really big one. You underestimate these movies where you have the same actor playing multiple versions of themselves. You notice it when you notice it, but when you like, what am I trying to get at here? You don't notice that because when he's in those scenes where he's talking to himself and fighting, he's not there. The other version is not there. Like, he's not actually acting towards another version of himself, and you don't realize that or feel it at all. That's something that Jeremy Johns brought up in his interview.
He's convincing everyone of everything for him from his characters. Like, that you're right. That's like a huge pro, at least for the movie, is Robert Pattinson's giving a hell of a performance with, I'm fully convinced Mickey 17 is Mickey 17, and I'm fully convinced Mickey 18 is Mickey 18.
And you know
who they are.
Oh my god! And I wanted to bring this up because this is something that I thought was amazing when I was watching the movie. Is you know who they are before Mickey 18 even gets branded, because of the way they stand and the shape of their face is different. Yeah. Mickey 18 stands with more of like kind of a grudged, like furrowed eyebrows, and Mickey 17 stands more with like a hunched and kind of like nervous looking thing. I'm like, oh my god! I don't have to think for a second which one of you is which Mickey, and they ended up marking him, which didn't really matter, but I could tell just by the way he stood.
You know what's funny? I think
this is awesome.
Some of the I actually thought it was going to be my least favorite parts of the movie, but now seeing it all the way through, it's probably, I wish they would have gone further. That weird sex scene with Nasha and the two, and Mickey's makes me uncomfortable, which is good, because I was really uncomfortable because I'm sitting with sympathy for Mickey 17, where I'm like, this chick's a bitch. You can't just fuck this guy who is me, but I was sympathizing with his character because I'm like, dude, I would be you. I'd be the guy who's probably like, what the fuck? You can't do this.
And then your own self, who doesn't give a shit, starts rubbing on you and touching you. And you're like, what the fuck is going on? That's a good use of
they were hitting some ideas and some concepts, and I'm like, okay, actually, I'm feeling things. I'm uncomfortable, and I have a character I'm rooting for more than the other. Okay, we're getting somewhere. And then that's it.
And then again, they don't dive into them being different people really at all.
They do. Yeah, they very quickly are. They're very confrontational. The two Mickeys do not like each other right off the bat because they kind of both understand
one of them's got to die.
If they're caught, they're both dead. Multiples are illegal. So if someone knows they're both around, they're both dead. So now, and one of them just got printed and he knows he's alive. So he's like, I'm not going to die. And the other guy goes, well, I'm not going to die either. What the fuck are we going to do? And I guess it makes sense that they'd quickly become friends because they have to very quickly understand, if we both want to live. No, if either of us wants to live, both of us live. And I think Mickey 17 gets that pretty quick.
Yeah.
Where he's like, I don't win this fight probably, but I could just go run and tell on you. So therefore, the cards are in my hands a little bit. And yeah, I just don't think things get explored enough. Nothing is really addressed at times. The ending just feels like it goes all over the place and turns into a completely different movie than it was prior, where now it's a fight for saving the aliens,
humanity on this planet,
saving a whole species or killing Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah,
it's, to me, it's so crazy where you're like, so everyone's actually like sitting in the ship like, oh my god, no. It's like, wouldn't everyone be like, fucking send it? Like,
after the video that they just
press
watched?
the button, smash it, dude. Like, nobody's on the side of like, yeah, we should extend, other than maybe his wife, who even then is just a pawn. So it's
God,
like,
dude, I fucking hated her. Which means that she probably did a really good job.
Yeah, Toni Collette's an amazing actress. Yeah. She kills it. Again, like, Hereditary is probably my favorite thing of hers. And so anytime I see her, man, that's a tough transition too. I'd say my most known role of hers is Hereditary, where she's playing a very much, up until the last ending, like the end of the movie, a very normal mom. Mm-hmm. Like, just a straight up mom. A normal character. Oh, God, dude, compared to this movie, where she is like, well, I don't even know. There's never been like a first lady that I've seen like that. She is fucking crazy.
Dude, this is a slight tangent, but every time that I have to like actually think about Hereditary, I get slightly anxious.
It's a good movie.
It is, but God, man, I hate it.
But more,
I start thinking about the horrible things.
And more respect to Toni Collette is like, she pulls off such a convincing mom in distress of a really emotional scenario. Mm-hmm. And this fucking batshit, like, I can disconnect so crazy. It's like two different people. It's like, I can't even see how this person did both of these things.
Good job.
So like, props to her. Yeah, she kind of nails the character if that's what they're going for. And that's, again, like, that's kind of the difference of like why we have like talk movies and stuff. I think it's interesting. You've got a dude who makes a movie. It's up to the audience to have an interpretation of it. Sometimes the director's going to be like, well, this is what I think it is. And then sometimes directors are like, no, I love the fact that I'm never going to say what the meaning is. It's up to you.
Figure it out. Yeah.
This movie feels like if you didn't get it like Bong Joon-ho got it, you're not going to get it. And I don't think maybe 1% of people are going to get it.
That's the thing, is like, I feel that works if like some people, what's Inception is a good one. Are they actually in the dream, or are they not in the dream at the end?
Yeah.
It's pretty, you know, there's two options.
It's a good talking point.
I feel like you'd be hard pressed to go out and talk to people who've seen this movie and find two people that had the same interpretations of the movie, like, ever. Maybe not ever.
Maybe
ever,
that's
ever
the point.
Right.
That's kind of where it's like,
I
weird,
guess, yeah, but
right?
Like,
that's where movies, I think, are weird. It's like, I would love to sit down and have a conversation with this dude and be like, is it supposed to be my interpretation or yours? Because there's a lot of directors out there who I feel like that's where you can get caught up in nasty stuff. Is like, a good director, I think, like you said, is like portraying things in a way to make you think, not just portraying what they think.
Yeah,
there's a difference, and this feels like a portrayal of like, I picture a country that's ran by this guy and it would look like this, and I don't know, just feels dumb. It feels like a child, I guess. It's kind of like, it seems like how a
little bit of a temper tantrum,
like how a child would look at something and be like, I don't know. I've also never got on with the whole, like, when you take the ideas of a real society that we live in reality and then ramp everything up to 10 just because you can, to really emphasize the craziness of it.
And this is what I mean.
Yeah.
This is why this
yeah.
is...
Like, I don't know. I can only go so far in before I'm kind of lost. Like, I mean, again, Severance is hitting on like, what time period is it? What is the reality? We don't even know.
Yeah.
We don't even know, really. And I think it adds to the mystery. But they've been showing us little bits and pieces to make us think. Mm-hmm. This movie, you just dropped into a universe, and maybe it's why it's like, this is why movies have a sweet spot. You only get so much time to tell a story. You got to pick and choose what's important. And like what is crucial to story or plot, or what is here to get a laugh or just be entertaining for entertainment's sake. It's like, I don't know. A lot of these choices feel weird. Oh.
I guess that's the sign to wrap it up here, because I would probably give Mickey 17 and 5.
Yeah.
It's a mid movie.
Pretty mid.
By the way, and I know some people, I always want to explain the 1 to 10 scale, because I know some people, for whatever reason, I think it's probably because of school. When you get a 50%, if you get a 59%, that's a failure. So I think if some people say that a movie's like a 5 out of 10, it means like, oh, that movie was fucking trash. No, a 5 out of 10 for me means that it was mid.
A lot of graphs are skewed and scales are skewed, but ours is trying to be at most like a 1 is god awful, like
Yeah.
it's bad, and a 10 is amazing, and then within that it goes up incrementally by 1. Like
Yeah.
so it goes from terrible to like kind of terrible to like okay to like decent. It's like I would hope a mid range is like it's
Yeah, a 5 is the middle. I know for whatever and I just said truly, it's because of school.
It truly is mid.
Yeah, it's because of school, but this movie is a 5 out of 10. It is a mid movie. It is not the worst movie. It is definitely not the best movie. It's a 5 out of 10. It was, I don't think, achieved what it was going for. I think there were some good performances. I thought a few good cinematic shots. I didn't think it looked bad good. Necessarily. Yeah,
I thought it looked good actually. Yeah, and CGI, costumes, sets, everything actually looked really good.
I will say the world felt lived in.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like I was like on a set or somewhere else.
Yeah, sets didn't look like sets, but the world itself wasn't believable enough in general.
Yeah, the lore and the story of it.
Yeah.
But the physical sets I thought were pretty good. But yeah, it's a mid movie. It's not one I would recommend. We went and saw it in Dolby just because of the timing, because we wanted to go to a little bit earlier of a showing. Not a movie you need to see in Dolby at all.
There were a couple moments where I was just like, it's too loud.
Yeah. Well, that's what most people say about Dolby. That's kind of the Dolby thing.
I think that's because I didn't like it. That's why.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The moments where it needs to be loud are like fucking Dune. Dune could have blown my eardrums out, and I would have been loving it.
But if you saw Mickey 17, let us know what you thought about it. I don't imagine it's going to have crazy numbers. I don't imagine a ton of people are going to go out and see this.
It's a pretty interesting one. Like, this isn't going to sell like a Marvel movie, even what I would think.
No. This thing's going to be a smaller one for sure. So if you have seen it, let us know what you thought about it. Give me a comment. And if you're watching Invincible, let me know about that, because I just want to talk to people about that. Daredevil, I'll be talking about that a little bit more next week. And let us know what you thought about the Lilo and Stitch trailer, if you might be kind of more excited about it than you thought you were going to be, like me. That being said, give us a like, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.